Hello! In today's video I'm going to be doing something quite different from what I normally do, and that is installing an outside socket so I can use my jet wash and install Christmas lights outside of the house. Not that I use the jet wash inside of the house, that would be mad. Now how I've done this is I've tapped off an existing socket in the living room and added a Fused Switch Spur, which will mean that the socket is controllable from inside the house should I ever need to switch it off. It could be a bit of overkill, but I think it's probably the best way of doing it. Now I hasten to add that I've never done anything like this before. My experience with electrics has been changing socket faces, maybe installing a new light fitting and wiring plug tops. That is it. I've just watched a lot of YouTube videos from a lot of very talented YouTube sparkies. So whilst it feels like a how-to video, it isn't really, because you shouldn't really follow the instructions of an idiot on YouTube, because electrics are dangerous and you could end up killing yourself. So yeah, just sort of see it as more of a guide to how I did it. Now just please bear in mind that I'm not an expert. I might say things wrong, I might get muddled, I might not do things correctly, but I would try and make this socket as safe as humanly possible. And yeah, but just please, if you've got anything to say, just think before you type in the comments, because I know people can get very feisty in the YouTube comments, and I think I've done a good job, but yeah, I'm not an electrician. So yeah, don't try this at home. This video is purely for entertainment purposes. I am just an idiot who's watched far too many YouTube sparkies. But yeah, I definitely recommend giving this video a thumbs up and even consider subscribing to this channel. Subscribing is free, and yeah, it just helps the channel grow and helps me make more content like this. So yeah, let's go on to the video and join me in the living room, about to start. So the idea is I'll run a cable from here into the Fused Switch Spur unit that will be here, and then drill out into the driveway and mount the outside socket there. It should be fairly straightforward, but I think now I've cursed it by saying that. Now, needless to say, I am competent, but I'm not a trained electrician, so if you're undertaking anything like this beforehand, then maybe speak to an electrician or just get them to do it. This video is purely for entertainment purposes, so if you electrocute yourself, then it's tough really. So I think first job I need to do is isolate the power to this socket and have a little look what's behind and go from there. So I've got one of these guys which will test the socket, and also it makes a beeping noise when I turn the breaker off for the sockets. I know that I've turned the right breaker off, so that's fine. Now I need to go in the cupboard and turn the breaker off for the socket. Yep, that seems to be dead. Now let's get this cover off and have a little look inside. Right, that's done. Let's have a look what we've got. Okay, so you know, it's just a fairly standard double socket, and I'm going to be going through this side. Now I am actually going to be removing this socket completely because I'm going to try one of the rapid fix sockets in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off now and then bridge these together with the socket removed, and then I'm actually going to turn the power back on, because I'm not going to be touching any more of this for a little while, because we need to put a back box in here. So let's take this off, put some wire goes on, and that should be a job's a good un. Excellent, so those are all connected off nicely out of the way and won't cause me any bother for now. So the next job is getting the back box in for here. So I've got to mark round where it's going to go and then cut it out. So I'll cut through the plasterboard and then screw the back box onto the block work that's behind the wall. Well, that's the idea anyway. Whether it works in practice is something very different. So I'm just drawing a straight line that's centre with the lug there, so hopefully the back box will be nice and centered with this back box, and when the face plates are back on, it will look level and pleasing to the eye. That's the theory. Now that does seem quite a bit higher. Interesting. I think I need to lower it down a bit. Yeah, I don't trust myself. Yeah, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, let's cut. Ah, there's a big old bit of dab behind there. Boom! There we go. That's the new one in position. I've not screwed it down yet because I think what I'm going to do first is drill outside and then worry about it later. But I think what I'll do is I'll take one of these knockouts out here and maybe one here as well, because that's where the cable will go through from that one, that back box, into that back box. So yeah, I'm going to take the knockouts out and put some nice grommets in. So let me do that. Okay, so I'm going to put a grommet in here to protect the cable that's running through. So grommet is basically just one of these little rubber guys, and you just push it through the hole. That's what she said. So when the cable goes through here, it's got protection against the sharp metal back box. I've already put one in here in the existing back box. So the cable will run through there, through this guy and in to there. Now we need to think about drilling a hole out about there. Let's get on with that. And we are through. Perfect. There we go. So I pushed a bit of conduit through, because it is going to have conduit in it. We've got a pretty good hole, I'm pleased with that. So eventually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a bush and coupler to feed this into the back of the new socket, but so far so good. Gonna have a cup of tea now, I think. Right, so it's getting to the point where I've got to kind of prepare my back box to be ready. That sounds wrong. I got this one here off of Amazon. Wasn't cheap, wasn't expensive, it was sort of in the middle, fair amount of good reviews. So yeah, this is the one that's I'm going to be installing. And so this is what it looks like inside at the moment. Now, as we're coming through and doing rear entry, I need to drill this out. I'm going to drill a 20mm hole through there. And then, yeah, it just needs to be mounted outside. But what I'll do is I'll get it prepared inside, get the hole cut, and get the bush and coupler put on, and yeah, go from there really. Okay, so just getting this roughly into position so we know how much we need to trim off. Okay, so that's roughly where it's going to be. Let's go inside and mark it off so we can trim the rest of the conduit off. Okay, so this is the excess through the other side of the wall, and I've put on a bit of masking tape so I know roughly where to cut it. Okay, so now it's time to do the outdoorsy bit. Got our bit of conduit, got this. So really, it's just a case of putting it on the wall and getting it in nice and straight. So, and then giving it a bit of sealant as well, just to make sure everything is all nice and sealed. And also I've drilled out the drain hole because it says you should in the instructions. Some people say you shouldn't do it, other people say you should. I've done it because that's the kind of crazy fool I am. But yeah, we're definitely on our way to getting this finished. So I'm gonna get my spirit level this up, and then drill some holes. Now usually I'd use my marksman to mark the holes. Well, I've lost it, God knows where it is. So yeah, it's back to the old trusty pencil. Yeah, perfect. Right, let's get it drilled. And also, let's adjust that exposure, it's a little bit high. Just need a hammer to hit those home. Right, okay, so we're almost ready to screw this into position, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some little beads of sealant, like in sort of half moon shapes, above each screw hole. So if rain does get through to it, it will just drip off the sealant and run down the back. And I think I'm going to do that rather than just putting a whole wodge all the way around. I think the half moon is probably going to work with me, so bear with me. What I'll do when I'm all finished is actually run a proper blob of sealant around the top and seal it to the wall properly, but this will do for now. And screw it home. We'll come back in a second for this. So there we go, there's the finished thing on the wall. Is it level? Yes, thank God. And there's some little rubber grommets that go in here to cover up these holes. Now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wire it up on the outside first, and then I can put it all home and forget about it, because the day is marching on and it's getting dark, so I think I should do the outside stuff first. I'm probably not going to put some sealant around the top of it tonight, so I can't be bothered. But it should be perfectly sealed anyway. So let's get some cable through and start wiring it off. Right, there we go. So we've got a bit of cable through. So let's strip it down and make off these connections. A bit of sleeving on the earth. Perfect. So now we've just got to screw it in position. Right, okay, so just got to finish it off by putting these little grommety things in the four corners. And there we go, it's done. Perfect, I'm so pleased with that. I'm really pleased with that. Right, now all I've got to do is go inside and connect it up inside. Okay, so we're inside, and you might have noticed that this is on already. It is. What I did was, off camera, I wired it in, and they're really easy to wire in. Basically, you've got two sides to it. You've got the supply side, which is where the power's coming into it, and then the load side, which is where the power's going out of it. So obviously the outside socket is our load, and this in here is our supply because it's supplying the power. Now I'm going to attempt to install one of these, and this is one of the MK Rapid Fit sockets. Now it's quite interesting where it doesn't have screw terminals inside for you to screw the cables on. It's actually got these kind of Wago style connectors where you can put the wires in and then clip it down. Now that's quite handy, but it does mean that the box is a little bit bigger than conventional plug sockets. Now we've only got 25mm back boxes here, and it does say that this is compatible with 25mm back boxes, but that is quite thick. If I compare it to the socket that came out, yeah, there's a fair bit of difference. So it might be that we have to sack this off and just go with something more old school instead, but we will see. So first job is I've got to get the cables in position. So we've got our line or live, our CPC or earth, and our neutral there. I need to get these wires roughly in that order. Oh, and you might have noticed there's some filler here and here. Now basically the builders didn't put any filler underneath the socket or the side of the socket. So I thought just for tidiness, I'll put a little skim of filler on. Might need another coat, but I'll worry about that another time. And I'm also getting some touch-up paint to kind of fix where I was a little bit gung-ho over here with the multi-tool, but yeah. So the power is off. To be completely honest with you, it doesn't look like it's going to fit, but we will see. Might just work, might just work. That looks done. Let's turn the power back on and see if it's all good. All good. All good. So yes, that was quite a rapid fix. I'm a little bit annoyed that they're a little bit out. But there we go. This is the first time I've done anything like this, so yeah. Never mind. Anyway, let's go back to the table, finish up and have a little chat about it all. So there you go, the socket is installed and it works beautifully well. I'm so happy with it. It is really good. Now, obviously, there were a few mistakes along the way. I think I said some words wrong. I think I said back box when I didn't mean back box and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. And also, I am slightly annoyed that I didn't go with my initial measurement of where the back box should be, because it would have been straighter. But as I've said several times, this is the first time I've done anything like this. And for a first attempt, I'm actually pretty proud. And I think I've created a safe and usable extension outside of my house. So that is really good. What did I learn along the way? Well, I learned that it's a lot harder than it looks on YouTube, especially filming everything and doing it at the same time. I doff my cap to YouTube electricians, because it's very hard to do the thing, explain the thing and film the thing. Now obviously I've got some experience of going on site and filming Nick Bundy, but you know, he is someone who has to film stuff and do stuff at the same time and provide commentary, which is just insane. And I really do give a credit to a lot of YouTube Sparkies for being able to do that, like day in, day out. It's absolutely mad. I think that the final result is exactly how I wanted it, and it really couldn't have gone any better for a first go. I think I've learned that I do need a new SDS drill, so you know, if anyone can hook me up with Ian Bosch or Ian Makita or Ian DeWalt, then please do get in touch, because I definitely do need an SDS. this is a bit better than what I have at the moment. But aside from that, I'm pretty happy with all the tools I've got and how it all worked out. So yeah, just reminder that that is how I have done it. I think it's roughly to regulations. I think that is how most competent electricians would do it, but they'd probably do it a lot quicker and everything would be a lot neater. But I've tried my best. But as I said at the start of the video, if you've got a comment on it all, try and be kind in the comments. Because I know there'll be lots of angry Sparkies. I know it. It's just how YouTube is. Remember, if you do like this kind of video, then do subscribe to my channel. I do loads of random stuff. And if you really like this video, then feel free to join the channel and you get to see content like this early. And also, there are a few other little cheeky benefits as well for joining the channel, as well as getting my everlasting love. I think that is it. So thank you so much for watching. But for now, it's game over.